So this video is a long time coming. I've been posting on YouTube for over a year now, and I have your questions and comments to get to. So with all that out of the way, let's get started. So I want to begin the video by saying thank you to all my subscribers all over the world. I appreciate your comments, the intrigue, the things we've been through over these last few months, from Blizzard vlogs to camera reviews, lens reviews, and countless Panasonic firmware updates that continually promised autofocus improvements. Your support has greatly helped me, this channel, thrive and grow, and I look forward to delivering more content that'll entertain and incite. The first comment is by Oxford Blue, who writes, I too have this lens on my FX6 for corporate events and meetings. This combo has the added advantage that you can get a nice slow zoom by plugging a lens controller into the back of the FX6. The 20-135 for me is a perfect focal length because you're not sacrificing anything on the wide spectrum and you get a lot more reach than a 105. So I'm able to get medium close-ups relatively easily, and if I were to do some cropping in post-production, there wouldn't be a massive loss in image quality. In regards to the lens controller, that's something I've yet to try, but when I get my hands on it, I'll let you all know. The next comment is by Your Story Studios, who writes, you could try the Fujinon lenses with the FX6 in 4K with clear image zoom. I'm thinking of doing a test with those lenses to see if there's any noticeable quality loss. The main reason I don't use clear image zoom when using my other Sony lenses is because it disables autofocus. But that's not a factor with the Fujinon lenses. This is true. Fujinon lenses are not autofocus lenses, they're manual lenses. And I did a bit of research into the clear image zoom, which to this day, there's still a bit of a mystified sense around that feature on Sony cameras. But that is something I find to be interesting, and in a future video, I may discuss this further and provide some tests of my own. This next comment is made by Kamal Yadav, and it's in regards to the Panasonic S5 4K 60p RAW video, who writes, Sir, help me, please. S5 or Z6 II or A7 III, good video, photo, both. My recommendation, just based on out of those cameras, I haven't had a lot of experience with two of those cameras. I've had a lot of experience with the Panasonic S5, and while I would recommend it for most use cases, if you need autofocus, I would highly recommend staying away from the Panasonic S5 unless you're just using the photo autofocus, which to me is about as accurate as Sony's. This next comment is on the Panasonic S5 Real World Beach Vlogging Test, and the comment is by Silent Wolf 81, who writes, the S5 lost focus so many times, but to be fair, I've seen the A7 III and the A7S III lose focus when shooting into highly backlit scenes as well. There was some very distracting focus hunting at 209 also. However, this video seems to have been filmed before the 2.0 update, I'm guessing. So to answer your question, that video was recorded before the firmware update on the Panasonic S5. However, I did eventually update to firmware 2.0, and unfortunately, I didn't see a lot of improvements with the autofocus system. Now, this is something I've been through with Panasonic. It comes from a place of love, but Panasonic, time and time again, fails to deliver on a consistent autofocus system that doesn't have the background pulsing. I think there's a lot of miscommunication about Panasonic's autofocus on the internet, and some people are saying the autofocus can't do A or B. At the end of the day, it's not that the autofocus system can't find subjects in the frame or can't vlog well, it's just when you get into the Panasonic system, you should anticipate a lot of background pulsing no matter what. Now, there are some little ways to circumvent that issue. I found that shooting in 4K 60p with that APS-C crop and the 50mm Panasonic Pro lens was the best combination time and time again for autofocus. Now, this next comment was on the Blizzard vlog A7S III video, who writes, wow, the camera works in those conditions. Good weather sealing test. Oh. Now the A7S III, I think for a lot of things on Sony's end, they typically don't like to over embellish certain features. For instance, the A7S III for my purposes and uses has never had any issue with weather sealing or any sort of overheating issues. It's kind of the same issue with the dual ISO on the FX6. For all intents and purposes, it is a dual ISO system. Ruckus TV writes, terrific video. Question, move on video. Did you set the white balance and camera with the CC Passport by using custom white balance where you take a pic of the center of the screen? Or did you use automatic white balance and hold up the CC Passport and set the white balance using a frame within the video showing the CC Passport in post? Thanks. Actually, all I simply did was I did custom white balance using the gray card of that passport. Usually I only use the color passport in more higher stakes situations where I know I will need that in post. But 90% of the time, especially for YouTube videos, I just use the gray card portion of that CC Passport. DK Media writes, nice insight. What shotgun mic are you using and how is it? That would be the XLR K3M. I'll put a link in the description below to it. As far as the shotgun mic goes, it's fine. It's not the best shotgun mic. It's not the worst shotgun mic. It's somewhere in between. I've used it on a few different things and I've never had any issue with it. No errors on it. I know sometimes microphones can be a mixed bag, especially when it comes to Sony, but for this microphone, I've never had any issue and I would recommend it. Lapios RC writes, I bought this lens prior to getting the FX6, knowing it'd be a very good match. Actually, it was about a year in advance and I used it a few times with my FS7. I didn't really like it on the FS7, but when put on the FX6, these two pieces work so great together, it's like they are one. Image quality, although being f4, is nothing short of great, and it is my main lens on the FX6. Thank you for the comment. Absolutely, I agree. The 28-135 f4 is perfect with the FX6, I think. And at the end of the day, it's just made my workflow easier. The next comment is by Chauffeur Film, who writes, absolutely my opinion, big thumbs up. I use my FX6 the most time with exactly this lens. Very good video, best cinematic greetings from Germany. Thank you, Chauffeur Film. Yes, the 28-135 rarely leaves the FX6. There's so many great things about it. I like the optical stabilization within the lens, and I really like overall the quality and the image quality I get from that glass. Even though it is an f4, I can't help but think that the advantages about that lens greatly outweigh any of the disadvantages on that power zoom. So anyway, that about wraps things up for today. We covered a lot of ground, from the Panasonic S5 to the shotgun mic to the color checker passport to the 28-135 power zoom and the FX6, which, by the way, I will be posting a review of the FX6 in a week or two, so be on the lookout for that. And I'll be covering everything from the internal electronic variable ND system to noise reduction control, the firmware update from back in May, which allows for 4K 100 and 120p through the SDI out, and so much more. Oh, and the kit lens controversy. So again, stay tuned for that. And as always, if you found this video helpful or insightful, give a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, comment below, definitely comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.